This is where you would find yourself as a manufacturer in the motoring wilderness if you did not have an SUV offering in your lineup. I mean, even brands like Lamborghini are considering it, Bentley have done it. Such is the demand for SUVs. But the challenge for a manufacturer is a simple one. How do you take that essence of your brand and get those proportions right to create something that is still visually striking? And then of course there's the drive, ensuring you don't lose any of that sporting dynamic appeal of your brand. Well, Jaguar reckons they have hit the ball out of the park with the F-Pace. Handsome though it may be, there is nothing groundbreaking about the styling on the F-Pace. It is essentially a combination of signature Jaguar design cues that have been stretched into a taller canvas. What is revolutionary is the aluminium intensive structure that lies beneath the curvaceous exterior. But more about that a little later. Inside the F-Pace, existing Jaguar owners are going to feel right at home. The swoopy dash, high center console, as well as the minor controls are all familiar fare. What is new, however, is the space. Now obviously you want to be in the driver's seat, but even if you end up in the back of your F-Pace, it's not a bad place to be. Super luxurious, very, very comfortable, but impressive is the legroom. This is my driving position. I sit quite far back and I've got ample space for my knees and lots of headroom too, so they've done a good job with that. They've also put in an all-new infotainment system, which I know people have complained in the past that it was a little bit slow and sluggish. This is a lot quicker, very intuitive, and adding in some nice new technologies. It's got a Wi-Fi hotspot in the car, it's got a wireless key as well, which is really cool. But I think an important talking point, a lot of the times with SUVs like this, they're on run flat tires. You get a puncture, you can't get the tire, it's a mission. Jaguar's opted for a full-size spare in the F-Pace. That makes a lot of sense considering our road conditions. As much as I'd love to live on a racetrack all day, every day, this is where we live, on normal roads, driving through to work and through the suburbs. And that, I guess, is a real strength of the F-Pace for me. We raved about just how good the ride quality is in the XF, which we had on test recently, and it's so different in the F-Pace. They really seem to get the dampening just right. I want a car that's going to soak up the bumps, but still gives me a responsive feel. Still feels sporty and dynamic when it comes to the turn-in, and that's what they've got spot on with this. What's been surprising for me is that I never thought I'd be taking the F-Pace on a gravel road, and we've done that. And the top spec 3-litre V6 supercharged that we're in is running on 22s. Couldn't believe just how good it was on gravel. But is the F-Pace a true Jaguar? Does it have that racing DNA? Well, an all-wheel drive system that is rear-wheel biased, that seamlessly shifts the torque to the front end to give you maximum grip for performance, has torque vectoring as standard, which really makes that nose responsive and allows it to turn in and dip into the corner. That excites me a lot, which is why we are at the racetrack. Maybe this is why they call it the F-Pace. This is where the F-Pace's aluminium architecture really does pay off. Not only is it stiffer than a conventional pressed steel monocoque, but it's also considerably lighter. The range-topping V6S tips the scales at 1.8 tons, but more importantly, it also boasts a desirable 50-50 weight distribution. And let's not forget about that howling supercharged V6 engine. At 280 kilowatts, it produces more power than a Porsche Macan GTS, and enough to propel the F-Pace to 100 kilometers an hour in 5.5 seconds. Oh wow. Wow, wow, wow. You know, all-wheel drives, when pushed hard, always tend to push the nose. Even more so when you then slap a big SUV body on top of it. And that is what the F-Pace just doesn't do. The grip and the turn-in on that front end is insane. The rear is alive with that rear-wheel drive bias. They've really done a fantastic job, and it feels light, it feels nimble, direction change, insane. But you're probably thinking, what is the point of track testing an SUV when 90% of F-Pace owners are never ever going to see a racetrack? But then what is the point of showing off an SUV's 4x4 capabilities when 90% of SUV owners are never going to go on an obstacle course, let alone see gravel? And that for me is one of the biggest selling points of the F-Pace, is that it doesn't try to do everything. It knows exactly who it is and what it wants to achieve, and it does that exceptionally well. So yes, you're not going to be driving on the track. But the solid point with this is their damping on this car makes it something you can live with every single day. Driving to work, it absorbs the bumps, but it does feel dynamic, it feels light. And if you want to enjoy a sporty SUV, this is kind of what you're looking for. And from a pricing perspective, that is where Jaguar have done a fantastic job. Starting at just under 800 for the 2-litre turbo diesel, the Ingenium engine, to just under about 850 or so for the 3-litre, and the top spec win is 1.1. Obviously the extras, but a really, really competitive offering. And it's a Jaguar. Not everyone has one. But I think at that price, with these looks and with the capabilities, pretty soon everyone might.